Okay. Hello, dear friends. Good evening. Such a beautiful, beautiful evening. Here I am at San Francisco Asian Art Museum. Friday night there was a party, and there was music, there was food, there were people, activities, performance. It's very, very dynamic and full of fun. And in this elegant and beautiful museum, I have a particular inclination to Asian Art Museum. Their artwork is very classy and very spacious, very well arranged. And our school had a school field trip, and they have some of the best docents telling story and explaining. I just have such a love relationship with this beautiful museum. So here I am in one of its gallery, and I was thinking maybe I can do a video while the party on the side, the library, the galleries are open. So I came to this gallery. Let's take a look. Okay. Hello, dear friends. Good evening. Such a beautiful, beautiful evening. Here I am at Asian Art Museum. And Asian Art Museum in San Francisco, I have been here many, many times. And tonight there is a dance party, so I renewed my membership and came here. Each time I have something new and different to discover. And since I have been here many, many times, so I thought every time I do a full walkthrough does not make that much impact or depth. So I decide to learn about one piece of work at a time. And I was impressed or attracted by this piece of Ping Feng, or in English is a partition for the room. It's a very Oriental thing. Chinese have it and Japanese have it. I personally feel that the Chinese one usually heavy and with lacquer, black with enameled shell or something. It's quite weighted, and in comparison, this here is a Japanese art section, and this is a piece of Japanese one. As I remember, the Japanese one usually painted on paper, and sometimes they have wood partition, blocks partition, sometimes without, but mostly they are. I feel this is lightly. It's just some cultural difference or usage difference. There is no anything better, anything not as good. Now let's, it's just the difference. Now let's talk about this piece of artwork. So it's a piece of painting by Kano Naonobu. It's a Japanese around 1607 to 1650. So, oh my goodness, he's very young. He died of 43. Edo period. Yes. So I have not yet read about it, and I was just attracted by it. And later on, we will go back to read about it. So this piece of painting or this piece of artwork attracted me because there is almost nothing. And I find there is something profound, interesting about this nothingness, about this not putting any work. And the truth is that it's not no thought. There is a lot of thinking, planning, and emptiness, imagination in it, behind it. So let's take a look at these two birds. They are geese, right? They are geese. And if you see their eyes, it seems their eyes are locked into one particular place. And two birds flying high, but they are watching in the same direction. So when we do painting, we need to think about the overall story. Even if there is not a story, there is no story, we can create a story, or we can imagine a story. So I was guessing, I did not know the artist who painted this 400 years ago, how he thought about it. But from my reading, there are some activities down under. Might be some fish, and the geese is diving to get the fish, and they saw some movement in the water. And the truth is that if we go down and look a little bit down and further, we can see some very, very, very pale line. And I am not sure if this goose is connected with these two geese, but there is water, and on the shallow water there might be a shell, there might be a frog, there might be a little duck, a little fish, and their attention got here. So this is also very much Chinese painting or the Oriental painting. The perspective is how do I say it? I cannot say there is no perspective. There is, but all the focal point and the perspective are separate. So here is one focal point here, and it tells one part of the story, and the world is happening around that focal point. And on this side, you can see the three geese looking up, and they may be connected, looking at those two geese. Their eyes are locked there. Sorry, you may not be able to see it so clear because the lighting is not so sufficient. But yeah, you get the idea. But the geese are all looking there. Not all, 3 of them. Maybe the 3 of them heard those 2 geese singing, or the wings flapping, so they looked up. And if we think that way, that is a complete story. 2 geese with 3 geese. And you know, our world is an individual world. Each one is different. Each geese, each goose has its own story, has its own internal world. And here is the 4th goose. This goose, the gray goose, is looking down, and he has his own world, right? And you can see some watermark there, very pale. And you can see a weed here, some water grass, weed. And in the center, this must be a family or a lovebird. The 2 of them might be a lovebird. So all this piece of painting is so simple, but the artist is trying to tell a story. And this story is at the liberty of the reader to make up. And I took the liberty, I took the license to make up this story. For you, you may think a total different story, right? And or maybe another time I can make another different story. But the fun is that each time we go to a museum, we see one piece of artwork, and we allow ourselves to contemplate. We allow our imagination to fly, to roll. Another good point about this is the cloud. The further away can be a cloud, can be a snow mountain, right? Further away, snow mountain or cloud. It depends how you see it, at what time you see it, at what life situation you see it. Something about the technique of this. So this is using very, very, very watery ink. If you see the paint, if you see the color of the geese, which has some quite dark color, and the weed, which has a so light color, and you can imagine how rich just one color, black, can make. In Chinese, we have a saying, 墨有五彩, the ink has 5 colors. So we use the color grading to express the color instead of putting on the real color. And also, Chinese painting, especially Japanese painting, they are very, very, they value very much no ink or no color, just ink. no color, because the simplicity is the pursuit, is the purity, simplicity, and emptiness, the room for imagination. So, to make sure that this so watery ink does not blob, does not emerge to other place, this paper is treated with a kind of glue. We say it's Ming Fan. I do not know the exact English name. It's kind of a basic or it's kind of a gluey a water treatment so that the water does not spread. For example, this may not be a good example. The toilet paper and kitchen towel, those paper has very few glue or bonding elements in it, so the color spread around. And to control it, our writing paper, our printing paper are much more controlled. You can see the paper is stiffer by adding the density of the paper and also adding some chemical in it, kind of a glue, Ming Fan, a gluey stuff. It controls the color so that the artist can use very light color. Otherwise, this light color will be just fluffy all the way, right? Because we do not, or Asian art, or Chinese and Japanese art, the ink is pure ink. Then you get into different amount of water, dilute with different amount of water to get the color differentiation. Okay, now let's do a little bit of reading. The motif of reeds and geese, much like duck on a river bank, finds its origins in Chinese painting. A favorite subject among painters working both for samurai and Buddhist patrons. The call of wild geese is the quintessential signal that autumn has arrived. Here, the geese are the type the painter could find. The geese are the type the painter could find in and around the city of Edo. I do not know where Edo is. Kan no Naonubu, like his old brother Kan no Tanyu, served as an official painter to the Tokugawa shogunate. The two brothers worked together on many subjects, but Naonubu became most well known for his exploration of subtle ink wash. Did I talk about it? The subtle ink wash and delicately modulated scenes of cloud and mist. Did we talk about the modulated, right? It's in different cluster. The cluster of cloud, the cluster of birds, the cluster of story, right? In this painted scene, he leaves most of the paper surface unpainted. Yeah, that emptiness. The flying geese above and the standing geese below transform the paper surface into a vast, misty expanse. How do you like this piece of painting? I enjoy it. I enjoy its emptiness. And I find it inspiring. When I do teach, especially now, I am just glued into my students' work, my own work. And I find sometimes students has their own opinion. And I will say, maybe you should add a tree. Why do you paint so small, so little, and so much empty space? But in truth, maybe they do have a story, right? Maybe they do have their own imagination, right? Opening up, coming to museums, opening up my mind. Sorry, again, I swallow those words. Coming out to museum and open my eyes to see different art. It actually provides me a way of understanding. Understand something that I used to not understand. This, I find it very cool, but I may not be able to produce it. I find it interesting, and it's pleasant, it's comfortable to my eyes, but I just cannot understand and cannot it's something that's slippery, something that fly around. I cannot understand. Now I read the artist, I start to understand this wonderful, beautiful artist. So here's her story. Shinoda Toko was known for pioneering abstract calligraphy in the 20th century Japan. She revolutionized ink abstraction, pushed beyond the confines of traditional calligraphy. When you see this, which is actually very true, and you see a lot of strength, a lot of courage. Now I see it. I see courage. How dare she just to put one stroke, not even a calligraphy stroke, on a piece of paper. And that's it, a huge paper. And that is actually challenging our sense of judgment, our sense of seeing it, our sense of reaction, our sense of aesthetic. Can this be beautiful? The beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Do you think it's art? I am still hesitating if I call it art or call it, it is not our traditional pretty art, beautiful art, realistic art. It's abstract. Abstract is something so slippery, I cannot get it. But I have a lot of respect for this lady. So she was born in Dalian, China, in the east of China, very close to Japan. And she was raised in Tokyo. She studied calligraphy under her father, but from a young age she felt uneasy with the conventional practice of copying the words of famous calligraphers from the past. She once explained, "It's like creating a fake. Even if you are skilled at copying, you receive praise, and that seems strange," which is very, very, very true. I practiced calligraphy when I was very young under my father, which is exactly, I think that must be all the Chinese family thing. And so later on, she practiced, and at the beginning she wrote legible. She wrote legible Chinese calligraphy characters, so she had good foundation. So at the beginning she wrote just as masters, and then in 1947 she transferred her style, distinct style of ink abstraction, characterized by dynamic brush strokes. Her unconventional works, however, were not widely embraced in Japan at that time. I can very well imagine. Even now, myself, I have a hard time to appreciate that abstract, which may have contributed to her decision to move to New York. So she was not accepted or appreciated or embraced in Japan. So she went to New York for 2 years to develop. Calligrapher at heart, Shinoda favored lithography over Japanese traditional wood block printing because it allows her to brush her design directly onto the plate, capturing the subtle nuance of each stroke. In many of her lithographs, she added color by hand, making each piece unique. Over the course of her long artistic career, spanning until her passing at the age of 107 years old. She was Chinese, beautiful lady. And at the age of 107, Shinoda continually sought her own definition of beauty, unencumbered by traditional calligraphy conventions. Anyway, reading her story does not make me understand this art, but makes me appreciate. This may be a pioneer stage, or this may be just an experiment. But if we do not have people to experiment, to try something, to see the world differently, our world will never change. Does this make sense? And if we see this way, we have much more appreciation for the artwork, for the dynamic stroke, for the vivant liveliness, vividness, the anger, the energy, the happiness, the euphoria, the exclamation, the explosion of energy, of color, of ink. She may even roll the paper and just roll step. I did not know how she do it, but just that euphoria of expression. I'm short of words. Bye bye, friends. I love you. I really do. Do. Goodbye, bye.